I want to quote to you the words of one of the senior advisors to your own Prime Minister, Vojislav Koštunica. He says Serbia will defend Kosovo, quote, with all available means. Your government right now is threatening war if the Kosovo Albanians go ahead with a declaration of independence.
Serbia is going to use everything that is in the arsenal of a sovereign, independent state to make sure that our territorial integrity and sovereignty is preserved. We are going to use everything short of military force. This is the position, this is the official position of Serbia. Serbia is not going to use force or threaten force.
Mr.
Unfortunately,
Mr. Simić didn't say that at all.
Well,
he said all available means.
No, what I'm saying to you is the official position of the government of Serbia.
Who speaks for the government? Because I am confused.
Well,
I want to make one point to you. Your own party, the political party you're involved in, when Mr. Simić said that about using all available means, your own party described his words as irresponsible and dangerous. So it seems to me there is a deep division at the heart of the Serbian government. There are hardliners around your Prime Minister, Mr. Koštunica. There are perhaps people who are a little bit more moderate around your president, and you would be one of them, who are saying, no, 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 we're not going to press the military button. So which is it? You just tell me, which is it?
First of all, I want to tell you that this topic is obviously raising temperature, and it is demonstrating all these kind of discussions and debates and various points of views that are now getting into this debate are demonstrating how delicate and how difficult this situation is, not just for Serbia, but for the whole of the region. This is what we're saying when we're saying like this is risking a lot of trouble, potentially a lot of trouble in the Balkans. But I'm here to tell you, Mr. Sucker, that the official position of the government of Serbia, and I'm a foreign minister of Serbia, is that Serbia is going to use everything that is in its diplomatic, legal, political, and economic arsenal, and that does not involve the use of force to protect our sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I wish this commitment not to use force is matched by our interlocutors in Pristina.
All right, well,
they have never, this is, I think, very, very important, they have never committed themselves not to use force. And as a matter of fact, there is an increasing number of actors who are involved in this process who are saying we have to deliver independence to Kosovo as soon as possible, because if we don't, the Albanians are going to start shooting people.
You may not send the Serbian security forces in. What about the militias that are reported widely by the media to be gathering around the Kosovo border? The Prince Lazar brigades is one militia that's been mentioned. Are you going to actively stop them entering Kosovo?
Well, there are militias on both sides of the administrative borders.
No, but I'm asking you about the militias that are Serbian.
I'm about to ask you.
I want you to tell me whether you are prepared to guarantee that they will be stopped from entering Kosovo territory.
Every time that any kind of a paramilitary force in Serbia so far has been gathered, the official forces of Serbia, our gendarmerie, our army, acted decisively to break up the meetings, to arrest the leaders, and Serbia is going to continue being active in making sure that there are no paramilitary action from our side of the border. Unfortunately, I have to finish this. Unfortunately, on the other side of the administrative borders, we've seen all over the news the paramilitaries of the Albanian ethnicity who are filming, who are being taped by like taking guns and walking around the borders, threatening peace and stability. Serbia is a responsible, democratic, European state that is going to make sure that there is no paramilitary activity on its territory. I hope that this commitment is matched on the other side of the administrative border with our province of Kosovo.
Will Serbia encourage Serbs who are living in Kosovo, we believe about 100,000 of them, many of them in northern Kosovo, will your government encourage them to secede from Kosovo when the Declaration of Independence comes?
If there is this illegitimate act of the Declaration of Independence, we will consider it null and void. For us, this would be an illegitimate action.
Will you support and seek the partition of Kosovo?
Well, if we were to support any kind of reaction to an illegitimate act, we would be implicitly recognizing that the illegitimate act is taking place.
I'll take that as a no. Let me just quote to you the words of Oliver Ivanović, who is a Serb politician in the north of Kosovo, who has said, quote, secession, and he's talking about his own secession from Kosovo, Serbian secession, it'll happen the very same day or the next day after Kosovan independence, he said. Belgrade may not openly support it, but they will do so indirectly.
Well, if you insist that we continue talking about this unfortunate scenario, which I think can be avoided, okay, but
he's got
I'm
it
sure,
wrong, has he? Has he got it wrong?
I'm absolutely sure that the vast majority of Kosovo's Serbs will choose not to associate themselves with such an illegitimate declaration of independence. I'm absolutely sure about that.
You are out of step with the European Union. Now, you've spent many years now devoting yourself to trying to create a Serbia which is capable of being embraced by the European Union. You now have the British government, the French government, the German government, all indicating that they are ready to recognize an independent Kosovo. Everything you've worked for is in the process of falling apart.
I think that if we are going to continue advancing the cause of European integration in the Balkans, and I think that that's got to be our foremost priority, the way we solve Kosovo future status, it's got to be in the function of the European integration of the Balkans. Now, if we approach the Kosovo final status in a profoundly un-European way, in a way that is not the way of Europe of the 21st century. How can you define it as profoundly un-European I'll be happy to answer
when
this
the
question.
British, the French and the German governments see it as the best way of producing long-term stability in your region? And I should add that the EU nations I've just mentioned have heavily criticized your government in the last few weeks for using the Kosovo tensions to further destabilize Bosnia as well.
So I'll tell you how we from Serbia see what is profoundly European and what is philosophically and politically European in the 21st century.
But with respect, I'm talking about the way Brussels defines it. And Belgrade, in the end, must acknowledge that European perspectives come from the European Union and Brussels.
So I'll tell you how we see the European ways and why we find the idea of European integration attractive. We find the idea of European integration attractive because we see Europe as this grand civilizational peace project that once and for all put aside all the differences and all the conflicts between various European nations that have been at war with each other for many, many centuries. Now, in the 21st Europe, you cannot imagine a war between European nations. And the way we see it, and the way why we see this European project so attractive, is that in the Europe of the 21st century, everybody's voice is listened. In the Europe of 27, when it comes to the issues of vital national interest, you keep negotiating between yourselves in the European Union until all of you agree. Until all 27 countries agree to something, you keep negotiating. Now, we are going to advance the cause of Europe by solving the Kosovo problem. I fail to see how can this happen if you approach the Serbian nation, which is a proud, democratic European nation, by saying your voice, the voice of Serbia, the voice of Serbian people, doesn't really matter. We're going to ignore what you're saying. What we are saying is, like, we have to come to an agreement with Kosovo Albanians. We have to find a final status that is acceptable by both sides. That's how you solve questions in the European Union.
I asked you to address the further issue of Bosnia, and I'll ask you one more time. I want you to be clear on the Bosnia issue as well.
You cannot be European about the future status of Kosovo unless you follow European values, the values of consensus building and agreement between European nations.
Will you adhere